Alright, we've got two packages, although only the one on the bottom is going to be anime. If these are supposed to be terrible, then they're very terrible. This is, of course, Attack on Titan Manga Volume 24. Ooh. And this is the majority of this week's new anime. Alright, and then we'll add this to the mix. And that did not slide very well. So first, we've got March Comes In Like a Lion of Volume 2. This is Season 1, Volume 2. There is a Season 2, and I will comment a little bit about that. So let's begin by getting this full picture. And then put this back because I don't throw it away for some reason. And let's take a peek at the contents. We have Production Note Volume 2, the questionnaire, and the thing itself. If I can find this shadow is kind of annoying. Kind of hard to tell what's really in focus and what's not. Looks like we can't see that. It looks like a lot of the same artwork that's on the case itself, except this is just like sketches. It's kind of neat. As you can see, 3 discs, blue, red, yellow. It's a dark blue. But yeah, that's March Comes In Like a Lion. Next up we have whatever the hell this is. ACCA Territory Inspection Department. Is that guy like a Germanish thing? Ooh, look, regions A and B. And English dub, so it's a background. To these men, the organization is their way of life. Kinda sounds like it. A very, oh yeah. Look, there's another guy there. He was kinda there in the shadows. And this fell out. Well, let's get this plastic off and take a peek underneath the covers. I don't think there's anything really different about the back without the slip cover, so I do not know what to make of this show. It would be something I have to watch to know. Blu-ray 1, Blu-ray 2, DVD 1, DVD 2, and image. I don't know what to make of that. I also don't know what to make of this. I think I got Season 1. This is Super Lovers Season 2 plus OVA. It looks very yaoi-esque. Very yaoi-esque. Oh, yes, very, very yaoi-esque. But, I don't know. I noticed it was region A only, English subtitled, so obviously this one's not as distributable and not as dubbed, but I don't remember much about the first season, but I don't remember it being dubbed. I don't remember it specifically not being dubbed, but I think it's maybe consistent. Oh yes, this is a different image. There's a puppy on this one. Well, a dog. A small dog, but yeah. They might be Super Lovers. Blu-ray 1. I don't... Hold on. These are dog prints. Why are these dog prints? It doesn't seem like an anime about dogs. Maybe if they said it was about bears? I don't know. Next up we've got Puzzle and Dragons Part 2. This is maybe Season 1 Part 2, or maybe this is just Part 2. These are some strange character designs. they're a little all over the place. Not in a bad way, just, I see this one's a region AB and an English dub. I don't know much about it. I think it may be based on a video game, but I'm very confused about what the content would be, because I got the impression there was like a collecting of stuff and there was probably puzzles you had to do to get them, maybe? I don't know. We got a lot of repeated artwork, but we also have DVD 1, DVD 2, Blu-ray 1, Blu-ray 2, and it's kind of hard to see what's on these things. The shadows maybe work, unless they really wanted us to see some detail. No well. And then we've got Ajin Demi-Human Season 2. Which I'm not quite sure how prepared I am to watch it, because Season 1 was okay, but I don't know. It may be a little edgy. And I think Parasite nailed a lot of this stuff better than things. Okay, let's begin here. We see Region A only, English, Japanese, and Espanol. Solamente puedo hablar muy pequeño español. 14 through 17, 18 through 21, 22 through 26. Movie 2, which is probably a movie version of all this stuff. Movie 3, Collide. Confront, Collide. And then if we take a look here in the Blu-ray version, we have episodes 14 through 21, 22 through 26, and then this is probably combinations of movies 2 and 3. Movie 2, movie 3. I can't get this to move, and I guess there's some shared. Disc 1 has the same art. Disc 2s have the same art. 3 and DVD is unique. Disc 4's the same purple thing. I don't know if that makes a big difference, but I don't know. It's an interesting note. Sometimes you don't get to see DVD and Blu-ray versions next to each other unless I'm doing it, right? So I'd say that's everything, but there's actually one more thing, and if you know why I have this, then you know why I'm disconnecting the camera, because we're floating over to this, which I'm not even quite sure how I would show underneath the camera. It's a massive figurine. I mean, Sakura herself is about comparable to a lot of my other kind of big ones, but not the big Haruhi ones. But this is actually really great. I didn't even know this was out until I was like looking for something else and just happened upon. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get that. You can see these are adjustable. They do collide with the thing, so there's only so much adjusting you can do. But there's movable parts. These things, they can rotate for no reason. I guess making them kind of flexible is like this rotates for some reason. But everything else is really about presentation, and there are some intricacies about this, including its really extravagant stand. I really like the detail on the crown here, and I also really appreciated just how much frills there are in the skirt. And then finally, you see these stars here. Each of these are individual items, and in fact, if I go here, you can see me twist one of them, and you can take them all out, and they were all attached to her, covered in tape. So there was a lot of tape to remove. It comes with 3 extras, and everything just looks great. Of course, you have to put that in her hand, and this ribbon is mostly for show. I don't know if I can show that the attachment's fine for a ribbon. But this is awesome. I'm wondering if I could stand something next to it for comparison, like maybe that was the yellow envelope that everything came in. This is the post office thing. As you can see, it's somewhere in between that Amazon Prime white. I guess I called it post service, but it's a white piece of paper. And the box behind it is the box it came in. A nice, enormous monster with some art on the inside. But of course the figure's in front, so I don't want to do too much. Just imagery of thing on the back. I'm definitely going to hang on to the box and the plastic inside. I don't know if I'll actually transport this. Actually, why don't we take a peek on the inside while we can. Because this imagery here was actually pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This slides out. Stuff. Anyways, that figure's a pretty awesome addition, and this Sakura card actually came with it, which was a neat bonus. It's not like the thickest thing, but it's thicker than a lot of things. In any case, here's this week's anime DVD collection update. Alright, for starters, I watched the first half of My Hero Academia Season 2. This is, Season 2 Part 1. I'm wondering what it's like going to be like when I get the second half. Am I going to put them in here, or is that box going to be better? Or maybe neither. Maybe neither. Content-wise, not the box itself, I actually liked it. It was actually very enjoyable. It ends at an appropriate point such that you don't feel like you're being cheated by having it be 2 parts. Like, it's not a stopping point, but I don't know that the end of Season 1 was a stopping point either. It's kind of a good breathing point. And one thing I really like about it is it sets up a lot of common shonen trope situations, but the characters kind of feel a little more dynamic and realistic. Like, it kind of establishes that our main character definitely has his childhood rivalry things. It's one-way rivalry going with his friend, but it introduces some stuff where it's like, it's not about them, it's about everybody. And unlike Naruto, which kind of tends to get distracted by all of its side characters, this one kind of keeps the distractions kind of relevant to the main character. I mean, because he's a real big fan of superheroes and he has a lot of speculation sort of stuff to do, and overall it's really fun to watch it all. It's neat, and I think it's kind of like Haikyuu Season 1 in that it knows that it can't give you nothing, it can't give you only good things. I mean, this is a standard of sports anime in general where you have to have the characters doing well, have them fail, have them get better, and have them win, or something like that. And, obviously, I don't know if there is a good overall plan that does head in that direction, but I do know that this show seems to be aware of things like that, and doesn't quite get lost in issues where, like, they've written themselves into a corner. I think Problem Children Are Coming From Another World, Aren't They? Is probably a really good example of they came up with really fun characters, but they risked creating too bland an environment. And it's unfortunate because they kind of came up with some solutions to their own problems before they started coming up to bad solutions to some of their problems. But, it is what it is, and it's still entertaining what is there. It's just unfortunate because it could have used a little awareness along the lines of, One Punch Man. Because One Punch Man is probably a really good example of a good way of handling a Superman character. Because throughout the entire series, you just enjoy Saitama, and when Saitama does Saitama things, because it's about him, but it's also about the world around him. Like, One Punch Man does these neat things where it parodies superhero genre, both the concept of what it would mean to have normal people trying to be superheroes versus people who are actually really exceptional heroes, but at the same time it plays both of them straight, and it does it all without really conflicting with itself. It's great. And I'm going aside because My Hero Academia, it's a very different show than One Punch Man. You watch One Punch Man to see the superhero genre enhanced by being undermined, essentially, whereas My Hero Academia is about just watching a really well fleshed out superhero story that does seem to have some length to it, but it doesn't feel like it's really dragging itself out. If anything, there may be an issue where we, the audience, are not quite sure how things are going to progress such that it continues feeling superhero-y. It somehow manages to stay in front of that line, and I don't know how far in front it is, but it's curiosity. Anyways, it was good. I'm looking forward to part 2, season 2, part 2, but you know, I've got a couple months before that. I decided to watch Robot Carnival, and it's interesting. I guess I have to say my favorite story is probably the opening one. It's got a level of hilarious absurdity to it. Actually, the ending one, which is, you know, a continuation of the very beginning one, is also pretty funny. And everything else, it's a strange mix. It's not necessarily bad, but it's kind of... I'm tempted to say artsy, but at the same time, not necessarily. There's some okay 80s-ish music going on. Maybe some people will find it spectacular. Other people will probably say, it's okay background music, I guess. And the story's maybe sort of told to them. I don't know if it's that or if the music was designed in relation to the people doing stuff. Were they all musical? Maybe that one wasn't. Overall, it's a strange mix. It's got interesting imagery, it's got interesting music, nothing that's necessarily, oh, everybody would be wowed by this, or even a majority of people. There may be some specific tastes involved, but yeah, Robot Carnival, not bad. Next up, I watched March Comes In Like a Lion, and I was getting really concerned as I got closer to the end of Volume 2 here, because there's an issue with the series where it's hard to tell if things feel completely relevant. And it's really interesting because you can kind of tell this, because if it had ended at this first season, then it would be a kind of weird mix of a show. As it is, there's kind of some wondering what the next season will bring sort of stuff, because it's not like the things that happened were completely unrelated to the main character, and they weren't completely just happening to the main character. They seem slightly relevant in terms of building a slice of life shogi universe sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Another thing I kind of noticed, it felt like in this second volume, the family that he's been adopted by, I guess, for lack of better words, not the ones that actually adopted him, but the ones that he kind of keeps going back to help them, and they help him, sort of. You know, because his adoptive family doesn't do that, and his dad seems fine. His adopted dad seems fine. It's just his adopted sister's kind of a horrible person. Well, I don't know. So it seemed like the part that was the really heartwarming part is a little toned down in this one, and a little less present than in the previous volume. And I don't know what exactly to make of that, because that was probably my favorite part of watching it, is just the heartwarming feeling of that family atmosphere, I guess. And this one doesn't lack it. It's just not quite as there as in the first half. So instead, I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping track of how these other characters that I don't have as much investment in and I'm a little curious about, but at the same time I've got so many things to do that it's hard to tell if I should prioritize that or not. You know, that weird feeling? Yeah. I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping a level head in that regard, and I think it works out pretty well. You just have to remember there's more story than what's in this first season, because there is another season. I don't know if that's twice the length of this or not. It's really hard to tell, because sometimes you can watch a show and you should know what the pacing would be, and the pacing feels off sometimes for a good reason. Final Fantasy Unlimited is one I like to reminisce about in that regard, because the pacing for that just feels bad for a 26 or rather 2-core series, episode series. And that's because it was originally intended to be 4-core. But then the end of the second one, it's like, okay, yeah, I can sort of see how they intended to have this major story arc and then this major story arc and then this one and then this one and then wrap it all up. But they only got to do half of it. It makes sense. That would cause issues. And last but not least, I did watch the first episode of the second season of Food Wars. And it was an okay episode. I'm trying to remember how the pacing feels compared to the rest of the anime, because if there's any issue with it, it's just a brutal first episode, I suppose. Not brutal to the main character, but just a brutal, oh yes, the main character is a really awesome person. And I can't help but think that they had to do that, because now that I think about it, they ended the first season in such a way where you kind of knew, yeah, they're not going to spend a lot of time just, you know, sitting around doing nothing. This is kind of a cooking competition show, and the competition is going to resume, and they pretty much made it where he only had really tough people. And I don't know. First episode, they had to... I don't know what to make of it. It wasn't bad. Maybe it was Food Wars standard, but I need to watch more of it to really get a good feel for the second season, I guess. And it's in there, and this week's selection of new titles, I don't know what to make of them, so maybe this gives me a slight chance to catch up on some other stuff. I don't know. Outside of that, let's see. Still taking a long time to make just the first damn town in the RPG Maker Fez thing, which basically means it's taking a while. I mean, I don't plan on having more than like 2 towns and 5 dungeons or something like that. But still, it's stuff. Was there something else I was supposed to keep people updated on? Oh yes, my interest in the Dragonlance Advanced Dungeons & Dragons speedrunning stuff. That's not going to happen until I catch up on some major projects. Probably the major one being I need to get my private streaming server up and running, and I only did a little bit of code on that, and that was basically to commit the code I had changed last time to pretty much make it where the resource servers scan for their content instead of... Well, I guess I wasn't quite sure what else I was going to do. If I was going to have shell scripts that I run that tell it to update. Now, this method's better because it basically means that the resource servers can like wake up every hour and automatically add their own stuff to the main server. And it's kind of weird because I talk about it like that, and if I make this code available and other people use it, it's probably not going to be useful to them in that regard, because it's only useful to me in that regard because I have chocolate and vanilla over there, and in this computer, whenever I replace it, I mean, oh my god, I ate through a lot of bank account just with a $300 figurine and an $800 pre-order for Legend of the Galactic Heroes. But I still need to rebuild my server, my SQL Server computer, and then I'm going to also have that computer be a resource server as well. That one's going to serve non-DVD Blu-ray rips. So basically, I'm going to put my AMVs on there. I'm going to put downloaded episodes of Pokemon that aren't available on DVD, which is mostly Beauty and the Beach, the band episodes, and if I can find them, and I'm gonna have to download all this shit again, the things. There may be other things that I go and put on there, I don't know. Like, Steven Universe is very nice. It might be kind of more convenient for me to put Steven Universe, the downloaded stuff I have, on there in order to encode it onto my streaming server and watch it that way, versus the inconsistent subtitling, because it shouldn't have subtitles, and I don't know. I really don't know. What I need to do is I need to create the server, because I have to figure out the logistics of how I'm going to be handling pretty much the synchronization between the REST controllers, endpoints, and the back end saying, hold on just a fucking second, I'm already doing a handbrake scan of this. And it's not even going to just be a handbrake scan of it, because the handbrake scan does most of the stuff that I'll want it to do, but I also want it to poke through the files and capture additional file data. Because the way DVDs work, if you ever go into a DVD directory, you'll kind of notice in the video TS directory there is a video ts.vod, and sometimes I've poked at a couple DVDs, and sometimes there can be content in there that I really want to poke at, like there could be DVD menus, or there could be advertisements or weird things, and then there's groups of files that are VTS1_blank 2_blank3, and those are the various titles, and I do need to pay some attention to those, because it turns out if it's an _0 VOD file, then I think that is technically not included with what Handbrake detects when it scans stuff, because that seems to be where DVD menu data seems to be hidden, and I need that because, first of all, there's some awesome DVD menus out there. For Blu-rays, I'll just have to figure out how to pull which stream objects are in the playlists and see if I can identify stream items that are not in the playlists, and while I'm doing that, I also have to watch for stream items that appear to be something other than a audio stream of some sort. Because doing all that allows me to keep track of the menus. I want to be able to put the End of Evangelion DVD menu on my server so I can just go to that to watch it instead of firing up the DVD. I also want to be able to have access to that, especially on the DVD side, because I know what to do with it, so that I can actually see what the DVD menus look like, because I want to be able to construct tools to better help me decode the contents of my DVDs and put them on my streaming server so that I can do it remotely. And for Blu-rays, I can find the Blu-ray menus, and sometimes there's really awesome stuff to get there, and I do want the Puella Magic Madoka Magic Japanese Blu-ray menu on the background. I think I also have some stuff. No, I don't have stuff here yet. I just have Blu-rays that I'm going to rip because they have content that I know I'm going to want on the streaming server that aren't on the DVDs, and I now have the space for them. No, instead, I think I want to get the Soul Eater Blu-rays ripped because their DVD menus are actually really awesome. Sorry, their Blu-ray menus are really awesome. So I'll have the DVD rips and the Blu-ray rips. Maybe both. Huh. And the only problem I have with Blu-ray menus and detecting the content of those is just Blu-ray menus work by kind of having a video in the background that can do whatever it wants, but then the menu items aren't necessarily a part of that. They can be. Some of them have been, I've seen, but a lot of them are not. Instead, they have graphical items that get assembled and moved around, because I guess they're going to have the same thing for the menu as they are for the oh, I'm running, here's a menu thing. And I don't know how to get access to those. I suspect those are in the stream objects, probably encoded in something other than a video stream, but I don't really have proof, and I don't know. It could be somewhere else. It would be nice if I knew the specs of this stuff, but I'll make do with what I can. So as you can see, the problem is I'm right at the edge of the really complicated part of this project where I need to be able to have an encoding process running in the background on a computer, and that might not even be on the main computer, because I might have other computers such as the Chocolate and Vanilla, which are my DVD Blu-ray resource servers, also being able to encode stuff, so I can encode multiple things at once. Probably one of the best examples of something where a lot of encodes could happen at the same time would be Lord of the Rings, because I also want to play around with seeing if I can remember chapter stuff, but also can I combine the two halves of the Lord of the Rings movie to make one super long Fellowship of the Ring and one super long Tower, Two Towers. And of course I have both directors and theatrical cuts, so I want to be able to do all that stuff. And I have to tie it all together, but I have to do the hard part of here's some code that can run Handbrake to grab the tiles and probably scan it and put it in the database. I don't remember if I did that part. Here's a front-end REST controller. How do I synchronize those? And I keep coming home from work tired. In fact, I'm yammering on a bit. I see that it is 7 o'clock, and I know I probably started a little late because I had other stuff to take care of, but I should really wrap this up. I'm really babbling. Oh well, that's the update on everything me. Y'all have a nice week.